The scientific world is now embracing the universal law that thought creates matter as scientifically authentic. There has been further acknowledgement of an unseen world that co-creates our reality, but it's been scientifically intangible. Now, however, we have Tillerian physics with over 40 years of research behind him in this field. Dr. William Tiller became familiar to the public after his appearance in the explosive documentary, What the Bleep Do We Know?
And we're really at that place. We're really split, in essence, as humans. We know things deep inside, and yet our science has not caught up to that. And we'll see when we get to the theoretical part, it's very natural that it could not catch up to it because the present reference frame for viewing nature is totally inadequate to go where we want to go. That is, to treat human consciousness as a significant experimental variable in physical reality.
Having conceived a device which encapsulates particle energy waveform, this can now be released at a distant location and in fact, elevate the consciousness of those in the vicinity of the device to a higher level of physical reality. While energy of this kind is generally temporary, Dr. Tiller's most recent findings have shown that his device can be technologically enhanced from a distance and regenerated to keep the energy alive, constantly circulating at the point of placement, wherever in the world that may be.
Basically, I will show you how we have to shift our frame of reference for viewing the universe. And I want to go back to quantum mechanics. One of the leading beginning points was de Broglie's particle tidal wave concept. Where that takes us once I make a couple of postulates. Then go to Dirac's work on the origin of the electron, see what that tells us, postulate a bit more, and show you the multidimensional model for a view of the universe that would allow human qualities of mind, consciousness, intention, emotion, and spirit to be formally introduced to a mathematical structure, which would be an expansion of quantum mechanics. So we would have a paradigm different than the one we presently have. The present paradigm, there is no place in the formal structure wherein any human qualities can enter. And as my Russian friend is fond of saying, friends, that is bullshitsky.
You've been applauded by many for thinking outside the box. Can you further explain this?
Well, the issue is that we have a paradigm of science which has a reference frame of distance time, and that particular reference frame and that particular science cannot say anything important about the wonderful human qualities of it, consciousness, intention, emotion, mind, and spirit, because the experimental data that we've gathered so far seems to indicate that they are not distance and time dependent. And that's why we have great angst in the orthodox science community relative to phenomena that are not distance and time dependent. They haven't twigged to it that that's what the problem is. I mean, they've had difficulty with parapsychology, as we would call it, for a century and a half, because that category of phenomena is not distance time dependent. And what science looks for always is internal self-consistency. So if you have a reference frame which is distance time related strongly, and you have a set of phenomena that are not responsive in the same way as the other category of phenomena that we have studied so well for the last 400 years, then scientists, orthodox scientists, have to realize they've got a serious problem, or they have to try to sweep it under the rug. And so orthodox science and orthodox medicine, because orthodox medicine depends on orthodox science, they have been trying to sweep these anomalous things under the rug for more than a century, and will continue to do so until we expand the reference frame. In psychoenergetic science, I have expanded the reference frame to a duplex reference frame, which consists of two reciprocal four-dimensional domains, one of which is space-time, is distance-time. So all of our normal phenomena that science does so well with is present in that duplex reference frame. The reciprocal domain of distance and time are all frequencies. So it's a frequency domain, a four-dimensional frequency domain, in which we can deal with these qualities of consciousness, intention, emotion, mind, and spirit. At least that's my working hypothesis. And I should add to this, because let me go back to basically the question. This is the out-of-boxness that I have brought to the table. I have articulated these things. I have done experiments to prove these things. And that's what the general public appreciate. The orthodox science community does not. They prefer to avoid it because it creates a real conundrum for them. But once they understand that it's just an expansion of the reference frame, because the reference frame that has been so wonderful for the last 400 years, it cannot capture these human qualities. And therefore, it is okay for them to expand the reference frame. They have to realize that there is at least one more reference frame in nature that is needed, because there are sets of phenomena that are very important in our world that cannot be captured with their existing limited reference frame. So the work I have been doing has been pushing the boundaries to see what can be incorporated and what must be incorporated in an expanded reference frame. That's what out of the box means.
Do you consider the objective goal of the sentient spheres, which is to raise consciousness levels, as a valid goal?
I think it is a valid goal, and I think that our technology can make the spheres appear sentient. Certainly we can broadcast an intention to such a sphere that contains one of our intention host devices. And it can have an intent to radiate into the surround qualities that will lift the human spirit. Anything that can lift the human spirit and make people more aware and make them more loving, more compassionate, more forgiving, more willing to cooperate with others, trusting others, recognizing the linkage that we have to each other. These qualities, in principle, can be radiated. How much exposure is going to be needed from the people outside the sphere to really have that inside of them? I don't really know. But the more there is there, the better they will be. So we'll find out. We must do the experiment. It's valid.
Do you feel that this is an interesting new approach to further opening discussion about emerging technologies and sciences that form the bedrock of our future?
My answer would be yes. We're combining beauty, uplifting consciousness, reaching out beyond the norm, and integrating it with expansion of technology in a healthy way, because it reaches to humans, it reaches to the humanity. All of these other things are just training wheels. The humans are the product of the process, and we're built by the process. So this is a great step in such a process, because it's full of aspirations and carries with it glory. So I'm happy to participate in such an adventure.